The coming hours and days will see an itinerary of events to honor her life and guide the transition ahead, but her passing leaves a void for the United Kingdom at a time of steep challenges, amid a change in political leadership and a looming economic recession. Though Britons rarely looked to the monarchy for political leadership, Elizabeth has been a steady presence highly esteemed by many throughout decades of significant change that saw Britain transform from a war-weary, declining imperial power into a modern multicultural state. As the day began on Friday and the UK entered its first full day of mourning, church bells tolled in the Queen's honour across the country, and people began to gather outside Buckingham Palace. In London, some shops, including department store Selfridges, decided to close as a mark of respect. Despite heavy downpours in parts of the UK Thursday evening, crowds of mourners had gathered outside Buckingham Palace, Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where the Queen was at the time of her passing, and other royal residences, after the royal family announced her passing. Many brought flowers to lay at the palace gates and lit candles, some looking visibly shaken by the news. Quiet singing of "God Save the Queen" broke out across the crowd in front of Buckingham Palace, where throngs gathered together even as night fell. In keeping with the royal tradition, a written statement announcing the Queen's death was displayed on the palace gates. In a striking moment, just after the official announcement was made, the heavy rain battering London stopped and a large double rainbow appeared over the palace. The royal family announced her passing in a series of social media posts, with the first announcement coming from Buckingham Palace at 6:30 p.m. UK time in a tweet. It simply read, "The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and the Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow." King Charles III is expected to make a televised address to the nation on Friday afternoon. Crowds gather around the Queen Victoria Memorial in front of Buckingham Palace in London following the death of Queen Elizabeth II on September 8. World leaders from across the globe have made statements honoring Elizabeth's life, underscoring the global impact she made during her 70-year reign. Elizabeth was head of state not just in the UK but in 14 other Commonwealth realms including Australia and Canada, and was head of the 54-member Commonwealth, the overwhelming majority of which are former colonial territories of the British Empire. The outpouring of sympathy included a statement from United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, who called the Queen a reassuring presence throughout decades of sweeping change, and another from U.S. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden, who said the Queen defined an era. In Asia, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote in a tweet Friday morning the Queen would be remembered as a stalwart of our times, while Chinese leader Xi Jinping called Charles on Friday to express his deep condolences, Chinese state media said. Regular meetings between the many agencies, from central and local government departments to military and religious authorities and representatives of the other 14 countries where she was also head of state, have taken place for decades to plan and rehearse details for the events. Following her passing, dun salutes will be made in royal parks in her memory, while Parliament is expected to be open for members to pay their tribute. As monarch, Queen Elizabeth is automatically granted a publicly funded state funeral, and details will be released in the coming days. Arrangements will be made over the coming days for her to be transported back from Balmoral to London, where she is expected to lay in state for several days before her funeral. Other formalities to come include a meeting of the Accession Council in an ancient ceremony at the 500-year-old St. James's Palace in London. One part of that meeting will include a formal announcement of the sovereign's death and a formal proclamation of King Charles III as the new sovereign.